Thank Almighty Allah or Almighty God for this special program. 28th of May is World Menstruation Day. And if we are putting a little statistics, UNICEF has also done a little research on this. Almost 1.8 billion girls enter on their puberty right every year. So this needs a lot of education and a lot of clarification for the young ladies to know all this. And this morning we thank God that we have a spokesperson or a good educated person from PPH, that's Planned Parenthood Association of Ghana, and his name is Makia Chegu. Mr. Makia, good morning.
Good morning.
I think everything is well.
By God's grace.
Yeah, before we enter to our main discussion concerning menstruation, on your own perspective, on your own research, how do you see these educative issues?
I just want to say happy International Menstrual Hygiene Day, which is today, 28th of May. And it's celebrated every year to basically create awareness, let people understand what menstruation is all about. Because there are some people who still believe that the menstrual blood is a dirty blood. There are some people that are not allowed to even cook, to mingle with others because of these misconceptions that others have about the menstrual blood. And then a lot of people are also going through challenges in terms of less education or no education on how to maintain proper hygiene as far as their menstruation is concerned. And so all over the world, we take the advantage of the day to create more awareness so that people will be well informed and know how well to take good care of themselves going forward. And then we also have people, especially boys and some men, who stigmatize ladies who are menstruating. So if you go to junior high school, senior high school, and you find a lady who has menstruated, and maybe the person stains herself in a dress, you see the boys will laugh and tease and mock at the girl. And so it's also a problem, which means that it is not just the girls that need the education. The boys also need the education to understand how best to handle some of these issues to avoid stigmatizing them. And then those who also have challenges in terms of soiling themselves because they cannot afford the pad and therefore they don't go to school, we also play some kind of advocacy to get them affordable pads or a way out of that situation so that everybody will be able to go to school.
Mr. Maketego, thank you very much for this lengthy explanation. But we want to ask, on simple language, when you say menstruation, what does it mean?
Menstruation basically means the monthly or the cyclical flow of menstrual blood. So that is in a nutshell, that is what it means. The monthly or cyclical flow. And I usually add cyclical flow. Usually people say monthly flow of blood because it is not everybody who menstruates every month. There are some people who menstruate twice in a month. And so if you limit the definition to monthly, those people tend to wonder if they are normal, if there's a problem with them. But that is their system. So those with shorter cycles can menstruate twice within a month, and that is okay. That is their normalcy. And then those who also menstruate monthly, that is their normalcy. So it is the monthly or the cyclical flow of blood. And that is the simple definition. But to explain for people to understand that it is not any dirty blood, I need to go a bit further. So it starts with ovulation. Ovulation is where the egg gets matured and then move from the ovary into the fallopian tube. That is ovulation. So once that is done, the egg will be in the fallopian tube. And if that lady do not have unprotected sex or sexual intercourse, then the man's sperm will not go and meet the egg to fertilize it. And so the unfertilized egg will now move from the ovary into the womb or the uterus. And now it will not be able to attach itself to the lining of the womb. So the unfertilized egg, together with the lining of the womb, it will begin to shed, it will begin to wear off. And as it is contracting and wearing off, together with the egg, unfertilized egg, will flow out of the vagina. That is what menstruation is all about.
Right, so without ovulation, you cannot see your menstruation, or what? Without ovulation,
Yes.
you can't experience your menstruation.
So once the womb or the uterine lining or the endometrium is tearing or wearing off, that is what will cause the blood.
Okay.
Then the unfertilized egg, you cannot see the egg.
Okay.
So it will flow out of the vagina in the form of blood, and that is the menstruation.
What symptoms will a lady see before she will menstruate?
Okay, so when it comes to symptoms, there's no one-size-fits-all symptom.
Right.
What I'm trying to say is that different ladies experience different symptoms. So if I talk about the symptoms and you are listening or watching us and you don't experience, don't panic. Right. It means that is your system. So I need to say this before I go on to the symptoms. There are some people who would start having pimples on their forehead, and that is an indication that they are ovulating, which means that in no time they will menstruate. Again, there are some people who will not experience anything. They won't experience anything. They will just have their menses. There are some people who have loose stools. So when they visit the washroom, I mean, it's not solid, it's watery. That is also their sign. There are some people who will fall sick. So whenever they are about to have their menses, they will fall sick, and it has become part of them, so they know. Okay. There are so many symptoms that, so the individual, if you study yourself, you realize that every month before I menstruate, I experience this. That becomes your symptom. But generally, for some people, they have discharge from the vagina. That is not an infection, but it comes with the process. So your ovulatory sign, one of them is that you have the discharge from your vagina, which is slimy. And so that also becomes a sign for you to know that you are about to menstruate.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Maketogo. I want to go ahead and ask this. If a lady flow more than she expected to flow, can she drink something to stop the blood, or is normal if she's flowing more than she expected?
All right. So if you have started menstruating and you realize that you are flowing more, the best thing for you to do is to visit a hospital or a clinic and have it checked, because there are other conditions that can also lead one to bleed. So you need to have a medical personnel to evaluate, to examine, and ensure that it is not being caused by other condition, but it is your menstrual condition. If it is diagnosed to be that way, then you know that is your system. Your system, you flow more. And there are a lot of people out there who flow more, and that is their system. There are some people who flow less. That is also their system. But for those who flow, maybe you have, let's say, 7 days, but then you realize that it's getting shorter. So now it has reduced to, let's say, 4 days. By the time you realize it has moved to 3 days, again, you need to seek medical attention so that the cause can be identified, because sometimes it can be because your HB or hemoglobin level is going down, your blood level is going down, which means that once you don't have enough blood, and menstruation deals with you bleeding. So once your system doesn't have enough blood, it will not let you bleed more. So you would start reducing in terms of the number of days you bleed, and of course that means that there is a problem. So for such cases, you'll be made to go on a blood tonic to increase your blood level. Then you realize that it will go back to how it used to be. So once you are experiencing something that is not normal to your system, you need to go to for a medical checkup to find out if it is caused by other condition or that is your system. Then you know what to do from there.
So for this, can you say maybe some ladies flow 5 days, 6 days, 4 days, 3 days, or 2 days? Can we call it normal? Or if you are flowing 6 days and reverse to 4 days or 3 days, you're supposed to go to hospital. Or if since you started ovulation, you have 2 days or 3 days, maybe it will be normal for you to.
Okay, so one thing about our system is that it is not constant every single day, every month, every year. Because we get sick, we recover. Sometimes you feel pains in your body. Sometimes you don't feel pains in your body. So the system is not constant. Same with menstruation. So there may be times that you expect to even have your menses, let's say today. It will not come today. It will come tomorrow or even a day or two earlier. That is how the system behaves. So when it happens like that, you don't have to panic. But once it becomes consistent, then there's a problem. Okay? So I'm saying this so that people, you know, sometimes people compare themselves to their friends. Oh, my friend is having it this way. Why am I not having it this way? It is important to understand that we have different systems, and then even your own system can also alter, can also change. And then it goes back to how it used to be. So some people can flow, let's say 7 days, then it will come to 6 days. But with time, it moves to 7 days. It's not a problem. That is how the system operates.
Right, if that's how the system operates, let's say some people have 28 days, 37 days, 29 days before they will see the second month of ovulation. Maybe can we call it a normal days or what?
Yeah, so so we go back to individual difference.
Yes, individual difference.
So we also don't have the same menstrual cycle for everybody. So it varies. So like you said, some people have 28, some people have 14 days, some people have 20 days and so on. So it varies. So if you have 14 days as your menstrual cycle, that is your normal cycle. The person with 28 days, that is the person's normal cycle. It's just like height. Some people are tall, some people are short, some people are medium. And the fact that you are short doesn't mean that you are not a human being. The fact that you are short doesn't mean that to their own count. That is your normal height. The one who is tall, that is his or her normal height. Is the same with the cycle.
Let's dip a little concerning on the menstrual cycle. Some ladies take that menstrual cycle maybe to prevent pregnancy. They have 5 days free period, they have 2 days free period. Can this menstrual cycle help ladies to avoid pregnancy, or it cannot?
Yes, it can help to prevent pregnancy from occurring. And so if you look at the menstrual cycle chart, there are a number of days that one can have sex and not conceive, and that is the safe period within the chart. And then there are also days that it is unsafe or fertile, which means that when you have sex during those periods, you are likely to get pregnant. So as part of the natural methods of family planning or contraception, the calendar method, that is the calendar method, is also one of the methods that is used in preventing pregnancy. But the problem with it is that scientifically it is highly, the failure rate is very high, meaning that it can easily fail. No matter how good you are in terms of the calculation, it can still fail. And so that is why we don't promote it. That is why we don't talk about it for people. Because if we do, knowing that even if you do all the calculation right, you can still get pregnant, then it means that we will be having a lot of unplanned pregnancies. And that is exactly what is even happening. Because the cycle can change at any time. There are so many external factors that can change the menstrual cycle. If you are overly excited, it can change it. If you are stressed, it can change it. Some people, when they change environment, maybe they live in Cape Coast, they go somewhere outside Cape Coast, their cycle will change again. So many things can change the cycle. And when the cycle is changing, it will not write you permission letter for you to respond. So you may do your calculation, but by the time you realize the cycle has changed. So the days that you were thinking that you were safe, you go and have sex there and you are not safe and you get pregnant.
Right, so let's see this. Can a lady get pregnant within 7 days before he gets his period? She gets his period?
So that is exactly what I'm talking about. It is not fixed. So I may say yes, somebody will go and have sex and will get pregnant. Because I'm saying that the cycle can alter. And when it is changing, you will not even know it. So it is a risk. That is why the calendar method has been classified as having high failure rate, meaning that the number of people it fails is very high. And I'm saying that I try as much as possible to avoid doing the mathematics with people to go and use that one. We are rather promoting the modern contraceptive methods, which are reliable. So if you really want to prevent pregnancy, move away from the calendar method, move away from the withdrawal, and then use a modern family planning or contraceptive method.
But this modern method, as contraceptive method you are talking about, did the ladies feel free to come to the house facility to access this?
Some people feel free, some people don't feel free because they don't want anybody to see them coming there. There are also some people, their husbands have threatened them not to go on family planning for different reasons, even though legally it is not supposed to be so. And so, thank God, we now have a special family planning method now in the system, so that you don't have to go to the hospital for it. So that one is called the Cyana Press. So the Cyana Press is a self-injectable family planning contraceptive. So if it is your first time, then the nurse or the midwife will teach you how to inject yourself. And then subsequently, you don't have to come to the facility. It can be given to you. So you can just call the hospital or the clinic, and then they will give it, you pay through Momo, they will give it to a dispatch rider or motor rider, and then we'll bring it to you at home, and then you inject yourself. So nobody will know that you are even on family planning, and then you can protect yourself.
A lady should prepare on which basis that tomorrow is my menstruation day. What should a lady prepare? What things should a lady get before she sees her menstrual cycle at a day?
All right. So even before we get there, let me move back a bit, and talk to parents and guardians or caretakers. So especially if you have an adolescent child who has not started menstruating, that is where the education should start. Usually people wait till the person starts menstruating before they give the education. Some people don't even, they are menstruating, nobody taught them anything. Some learn from their friends, their colleagues. So if your friend doesn't know it well, that wrong apport or message is what you will be using. And so parents should begin early. So by the time your child will get there, the person knows what to expect. But we don't have to wait for the person to soil herself, then we start educating the person. So the education should start early so that people will be well informed. Now, in terms of the preparation, you know that every month around this period you menstruate. So you should have your sanitary pad available. You should keep it in your bag, because like I said, sometimes you may think that it's coming Friday. By the time you realize it has come on Thursday. And so once you know that you are likely to bleed on Friday, right from Wednesday or Tuesday, you should keep the pad in your bag. You should keep it in your bag and move along with it. So in case of anything, you can just move to a washroom and then change yourself. That is very important. So you should have, we call it on the go. You should have your sanitary pad. You should have a sanitizer if you can afford. You should have some biscuits, some snack on you, because you are bleeding and you need to replenish. You need to have some energy. You should have some water also in your bag. You should have a sanitary towel also in your bag. And these are things that you need to have on you as a lady when you know that you are about to menstruate.
For mentioning all these things, ladies again, still some of them find it very difficult to even buy this sanitary pad. Can we do something about it as parents, as community, as a nation?
So we start from nation. As a country, we all are aware that the government has placed tax on sanitary pad. And the question is, which people are suffering because of this taxation on sanitary pad? It is the teenagers. It is the teenagers. And already some people cannot even afford when it was at a lower price. Now that it has been increased, so today you find you buy one pad like 20 cedis, some even 30 cedis. And we are talking about a lot of villages and communities where even money to buy food is a problem. And so some people are forced, not because they want to, but because they cannot afford to buy the pad, they are forced to have sex with other people who would in turn give them money to go and buy pad, because otherwise then they will soil themselves, which they don't want. So they go ahead and have sex. I'm not saying it's the right thing, but that is what is happening on the ground. Some people cannot go to school because they don't want to soil themselves for people to laugh at them, for them to disgrace themselves. So the ordinary people are suffering because of the taxation on sanitary pad. Menstruation is a natural occurrence. Nobody asks, okay, this month I want to menstruate or I don't want. It's non-negotiable. You understand? It's natural. And it is not anybody's fault to menstruate. So menstruation or menstrual pad is not luxury. It's not like me, I want to buy 4x4 wheel. Then you put tax on it because it is my choice to go and buy that high class car. So you place tax on it. But this one is non-negotiable. So if the government can waive off the tax from sanitary pad, which will bring down the cost of the pad, it will help make it more affordable for people to use. So that is an advocacy that is already going on with government. It started some years back, but as at now, there's no change. We are still knocking on the door, hoping that there will be change. Now, alternatively, in the meantime, people are still menstruating.
Yeah.
The tax has not been taken off.
Yeah.
And they still need to put some pad there to prevent soiling themselves. And so currently, there is menstrual cup. Now the menstrual cup is a flexible plastic cup that you squeeze and insert into the vagina, and it collects all the blood. So when you menstruate, it collects. You can even wear it throughout the day, and then you just remove the cap, and the blood will be inside, and you just pour it into the washroom or wherever you deem fit to pour it, and then you wash it, and you can reuse it. So you don't have to go and buy another pad, even though it is expensive. But once you are able to buy one, it will be able to take you far. You can reuse it and be saving the money that you'll be using to buy the sanitary or the disposable pad. Then we have the reusable sanitary cloth or pad, and that one is more affordable. So once you are able to get a couple of the reusable sanitary pad, maybe you have about 3 or 4, I mean, for like 3 years, 2 years, you'll be using it and you just wash it. So you don't have any problem buying the disposable sanitary pad. So this is suitable for those who have problem buying the pad every month and they cannot afford. They are soiling themselves, having sex with people in order to get money to go and buy the pad. All these people can now move away from that circumstance or habit and then go in for the reusable sanitary pad. And they are good to go.
PPHU or IPPF also, have they planned, demonstrate, show a different way of maybe using a pad instead of going to the modern one as the foreign ones? Can you use the local ones?
Yeah, the problem with menstruation is that if you are not careful with the kind of things that you use to prevent soiling yourself, it can also lead to sepsis. It can lead to infection. And that is what we're also trying to avoid. So we've had people use tea-roll.
Yeah.
You know, they fold it and put it in their pants because they cannot afford the pad. There are some tea-rolls, you know, there are tea-rolls and there are tea-rolls. Some are smooth, some are rough. And for those who cannot afford pad, it means that they will not buy the high-class tea-roll. So if you put it there, it can fray. It can tear off. Yeah. And what will happen is that once you take it off, you find some of the particles. This is the reusable sanitary pad, and this is how it looks like. This is how it looks like. So it's made up of 3 different layers. So it's not just an ordinary cloth that is used. There are special materials that are used for it. So it has the base, and then there is an inner material which is absorbable. It's an absorbable material which is inside. Then we have this black material also as the 3rd layer. And just like the disposable sanitary pad, it has the wings, okay? And with this one, if you know how the disposable one looks like, it has an adhesive which can stick on a pant, but this one doesn't have, but it has a snap at the back. So if we have the pant this way, you place it on it like this, and then you fold the wings backwards like this, and then you just lock it behind. You lock it behind this way. And now you can have a pant this way, and then you are good to go. You understand? So this has certain advantages over the disposable one. So the disposable one has a chemical. This one doesn't have any chemical. The disposable one, because of the material that is used, it is not breathable, like a hair does not pass through. But this, because it is made up of cotton, it is breathable. So at least there's a bit of aeration in your, around your vulva. And then it is economical. Once you buy one, you can reuse it and be saving all the monies you'll be using in buying the disposable. Okay. And then another advantage is that it can be customized to your need. Okay. So there are some people who, like you said earlier, they bleed more. Yeah. So whoever designs this, you can let the person know that I bleed more. Then they can increase the absorbable material for you. But this is not produced in Ghana. You can't tell the manufacturers to do it to suit you. Even though we have pads that are for heavy bleeding, because people bleed more, they still have to change regularly. But this can be designed to suit your situation. And so that is also an advantage. We've heard that people go around, pick the disposable one, and use it for sakawa and all those things. With this one, you wash your thing, you keep it. So you are not going to leave it anywhere for any sakawa people to get it for you. So once you are done, you take it off. And this part is very important with the reusable. Yeah. Once you take it off, you don't have to go and put it down. Once you take it off, use ordinary water to just rinse where the blood is, to rinse it. If you have some cloths there, you can have in your pack an old used toothbrush to just scrape the particles off. But ordinary water will just take all the blood away. And then you fold it again, like this,
you put it there,
as it were. And then it comes with a bag. Then you just put it in the bag. So when you, even if you are in school, you are at work, you just put it in a bag. When you get home, then you wash it just as you wash your ordinary clothes or other panties. And that is it. There's no problem with that.
So that shows that you cannot use one for a day, because if you check the foreign one, sometimes some ladies change themselves maybe 3 times, 2 times.
Sure.
But if you are using this local one, can you change it 2 times or 3 times, or after washing it, can you wear it again?
You cannot wash it and immediately use, because it will be moist.
Okay.
And that can also lead to another condition. So ideally, you should have about 3 or 4, depending on your flow. Right. So you know yourself. So you have not just one in your pack. So if you are in the office or you are in school and you feel that it is now heavy, it's time for you to change. You go to the washroom, you change, and then you rinse it, fold it, put it in the bag, and then you put on the other one in the bag. And then you are good to go.
Right, Mr. Maketogo, our time is up and our technicians are giving us time. So, a few advice for us to go, if you have any.
All right, so for me, it goes especially to men and boys. We need to support our girls and women who are menstruating. Menstruation is not a dirty blood. Menstruation is not a condition that you don't have to go near someone who is menstruating. We should rather encourage them, we should rather support them, because some people have pains, a lot of pain, menstrual cramps when they are menstruating, and this is the time that those around them, especially men and boys who do not menstruate and do not understand the pain, not to laugh at them, but rather to encourage them, to be there for them. And for husbands or partners who want to have sex every day, every time, please, when a woman is suffering, having the cramp, and she says that, I don't want to have sex, please, let's learn to listen to them and not force and push them and have sex with them. The pain is real. They are not faking it. So that's what I would say.
Right, on that note, we'll end our program here. We thank Mr. Maketego from PPAG, Planned Parenthood Association of Ghana, for today coming all the way from the office to celebrate the day for us, 28 May 2023, menstruation, World Menstruation Day. So we thank Mr. Maketego very much. So our advice is, men out there, please try to help the ladies. If you are married, help your wife as well. Give her more education. Help her to educate herself. As well as when we are celebrating a Mother's Day, you see many celebrations issues all going together. And this menstruation is also very, very, very important. So we should all help the ladies out there to maybe have more knowledge, more education concerning menstruation. And watch out, Mr. Maketego telling us that if the lady is not ready, if she say no, accept the no. Especially today, the World Menstruation Day, if she say no, just help her. That today I'm tired, so you should consider things and help them to move. My name is Omar bin Abdallah, but Yanshan is so there. And there is an know here. Papa, into your mamazin, them or your UNICEF, what do you show my Bible to go? What's the dark rubiara, you hadn't found a hinara, impa or pepe, queer nature paw, our tree 1.8 billion. I am Safumba, na oko, or your menstrual cycle, not a more chassis. Into no more, or your pepe, now also information to how want to we need the information. Into being here. There I will feel how should free ya young Kunumi, ya bombas in the to Yam Hunchache. And when I say Kodash, I am MC online. No be here, Papa, the Biara, you want some power for this. Bye bye.